Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Periscope series, The Choice of Delivering Joy. Today, we have with us Dr. Parimal Udapurkar. He has completed his undergraduate studies from Dr. VMGMC Solapur and is now pursuing his post graduation in obstetrics and gynecology in St. GS Medical College and KEM Hospital, Mumbai. He will be taking us into his journey of choosing obstetrics and gynecology as a career and will throw light on various related aspects. I request everyone to type their doubts or the questions they would like to ask Dr. Udapurkar in the chat box as the session continues. We will address some of those at the end. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Piyush and Shreya for having me here. I think you all are doing a great job with these initiatives in our college, and because you all are doing such a great job at it, it's an honor to be a part of it, to be called over here. Thank you so much
We
for
are
that.
honored to have you. So, how is it going, sir?
How's it going? If you ask any resident, the answer is not going to be very lovely, but I guess it's a part of your first year. It's going to be a little heavy, and KM
Yeah.
being a tertiary center, it sees a lot of cases. So uh, it is going heavy. I'm very lucky to have found time for this today, and I guess as we go ahead and speak more about the details of how we work in KM, you'll come to know how is it going exactly.
Yeah, sure. So, sir, we know through Instagram that you had come up with the 30 days vegan experiment. So, are you considering veganism for a lifetime, or is dairy too dear to you?
No. So it's neither of them. At the end of my 30 days veganism experiment, I had given a detailed explanation as to why veganism is definitely the superior choice in my head, but but I'm okay with the not choosing it. So I will not go there, and just because I'm not vegan, I will not say that veganism is bad or vegetarian. The 2 months that I was in OBGY as an intern, I felt like, I went into it thinking that this is going to be the worst posting of your life, so be ready for it. And but it did not. It turned out to be the best posting of internship. Number one, because whatever you have studied in your final year and minor, you can actually apply it over there. I could see that even though I was not taking the step, but I knew that the next step in this management would be this, and then ma'am would say the same thing. So I thought, okay, so it's very logical, and I can still get it already. And after that happened, and I took a drop year. During my drop year, what happened was, I have always been the kind of person for NUHS exams. I have always studied only in the PL. So, and that was always enough for me, because NUHS will ask you only the if you do last 10 years the winter papers, you will score well. So, but the NEET exam is not that kind of an exam. So for the NEET exam, I had to study a lot more and more and more. And I'm very thankful for the NEET exam for this, because it made me study so much that it made me realize potential that I did not know I had. And when I came to know, oh, I am capable of learning and understanding so much more, I wanted to do something more impactful than DERMAT. So, I mean, not to say that DERMAT is not impactful. I think DERMAT touches lives in a very big way in many cases. But I wanted to do something that is, I felt like, okay, surgical. Because surgical, when you do a surgery on a patient, it creates a big difference before and after. So I thought, okay, so I thought, let's do OBGY. Also because OBGY, the reasons for picking OBGY is not only is it a good, I find it a good combination of both medical and surgical uh, aspects, but I also felt that my personality per se was very fitted to OBGY. So if only academics were concerned, you tell me I can study ortho very well, and perform very well in ortho also. I can perform very well in medicine also. But I felt like I will not be as good I will not be as good an orthopedician as I will be an obstetrician or a gynecologist. So I thought, okay, let's do something that is best fitted for my personality, and something that I had never dreamt in my life. I decided to do OBGY. And when I told my friends who we were all preparing for the NEET, I told them that, I think I'm going to do OBGY. And this was the time when everyone's ranks were not so great in the grand tests, and everyone was reassessing their preferences. So they thought, my friend asked me, तेरा rank अगर अच्छा है तो भी तो OBGY लेगा क्या? And I said, पता नहीं, वो बाद में देखेंगे. And then जब rank आया, I asked myself, so now do you still feel like doing OBGY? Do you want to go back to dermat radio? But the answer from inside me came that I do still want to do OBGY for the same reasons that I love OBGY. So I went ahead with it. And after coming here, I'm like happy to say that I think my decision was right, because although it's a high stress branch and there are frustrating aspects of it, but the aspects of it for which I joined, like many of the problems that we see in our society are regarding women's health, and those problems really boil my blood. And I feel that to be able to be a part of the system where you are providing solutions for it, I think that will be a very satisfying workplace. I think that will be very satisfying, because your work is like 10 to 12 hours of your day, even if you're not a doctor. Even if you're not a doctor, you're spending a big time of your day in your work. So your work needs to be something that is very satisfying. And I thought that if I am being a part of the solution for it, then I think that would make for a very satisfying life. And I hope that one day it does turn into that. As a first year resident, it's just very, very stressful. But I think one day it will turn into something very beautiful.
Yeah, definitely that was a very great journey indeed. And now, sir, what do you think are the most important points a UG student should consider while choosing a PG course? I mean, is there a particular criteria he she should fit in for suiting a particular specialty?
Hmm. So I think, like as I like, spoke about my experiences, that it's don't look at the only the branch, look at yourself also. Like see which branch are you suited for. Uh, don't try to fit yourself into a branch that you may or may not like, or that may or may not be meant for you, just because the branch has more money, or whatever, the branch has a certain coolness to it or something like that. So I think that is most important. The thing that we tend to forget very easily is that if you're already MBBS doctors and you're already getting a postgraduate seat, then you're already very successful people. Don't think that a radiologist is much more successful than a medicine or a pathologist or something like that. Okay, you're all going to be successful. You all are already earn enough money to have all the comfort that you want to have. Okay, so don't let money or any of these things decide what branch you want to take. Choose something that you feel is most fitted to the kind of person you are. So more than just having knowledge about these subjects, the better you know yourself, the better you'll be able to choose these subjects. And speaking more practically, don't try to skip your internship, I would say, because your internship will truly show you the worst parts of these subjects. So when you see the worst of these subjects, you come to know that this is something that I definitely do not want to do. So at least if you don't know what you want to do, you'll come to know what you don't want to do. So I was very fortunate to do my internship in BJ Pune. I think it was a very heavy internship, but I got a lot of clinical exposure. And like at the end of internship itself, I came out confident itself to call myself a doctor. Like I could say, okay, I can start an OPD and I can start seeing patients at least. So I think that happens very rarely. So uh, have a good internship and then know yourself very well. And I think you should be able to choose based on these criteria. Don't choose based on money or any other criteria.
Yeah. So, how is the OBGYN department in GS operating amidst the pandemic? What are the changes that you have seen?
Actually, not just OBGYN department, every hospital out there has changed a lot because of the pandemic. You might think the patient load has increased, but the patient load has actually decreased because people are very hesitant to go out of their houses. So number one is that patient load has decreased, so our work has decreased per se. There are no elective surgeries going on. So nobody which has a like even NTPs or something are very rarely done or very hesitantly done. So so any elective cases right now just being pushed forward to whenever we start elective cases. So we have only like half the surgical exposure going on right now. Another thing that is affected majorly is that because people are not going out of their houses, people are not donating blood. So blood banks are running dry, and it's becoming very, very, very difficult to arrange blood for patients, because the thing is you cannot take someone in for surgery before, like, without already having a blood bag reserved for him on paper at least. So whether or not he needs it is another question, but you force me to reserve it. And reserving that blood bank, that blood bag when all blood banks are running dry and the woman is already in labor, so you have very little amount of time to just find a blood bag from somewhere in Mumbai and get it to KM. So I mean, those are problems that ideally we should not be facing as doctors or residents, but now they are coming into our purview because of the pandemic. Other than that, instead of having weekly emergencies, we are having like twice a week we have emergency duties because we want to limit the exposure of one entire unit of doctors to COVID. Every now and then one or the other resident is turning COVID positive, but we are learning to live with it. We are learning to work with it. We are all the labor room runs. We are all wearing PPE in the labor room, and everyone's wearing PPE in the emergency department. None of these departments are air conditioned, so it's made life very difficult. But people are managing, and no one's complaining much about it. We've just become used to it now, and more than anything, it's just like time of war. So the soldiers don't leave the army at the time of war. This is our war, and as doctors, we cannot leave it at this point. So come what may, we're going to have to fight for it, whether or not we have public support or no. Because no matter what they say, we're always going to do our duties as we have always have done.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the issues we are facing. But unless like if you had not brought it up, no, I wasn't going to speak about it as such. But yeah, these are the changes that we've seen over the years. Otherwise, the department is very nice. I would like to add this. The OBGY department in KM is very, very, very nice. In all my exposure to other colleges, I've seen 3 colleges by now, right? In OBGY, all the OBGY department. So it's very academically very high and very protocol based. The documentation is very neat, and we see a lot of high risk cases. So I think it's a great, great department to be a part of.
Absolutely. So, sir, you have done a lot of research work and other co-curricular stuff in your internship days and after. So, we would love to hear about it. What was it exactly all about?
Uh, the idea for this, I have published one research paper, and the idea for this research paper came to me in third minor itself, which was that we have when it comes to a permanent method of sterilization, we have 2 methods basically, that is vasectomy and tubectomy. Now, vasectomy is something that is much more superior than a tubectomy because it's a low pain procedure, it's a low time consuming procedure, it has less morbidity, and even if you want to reverse it and tomorrow have a baby, it has better reversal. More than anything else, the government pays you a compensation that is much higher for vasectomy as compared to a tubectomy. Now, despite taking all these factors into consideration, 97% of couples all over the world will choose a tubectomy. So now we are living in an era where women empowerment is being talked about. We're talking about feminism. So my question was, we talk about women being empowered outside their houses, but what about inside their houses? When the time comes for a couple to choose a permanent method of sterilization, why is it that women cannot have a say in an operative procedure that is being performed on their body? Because if that was the case, if both of them had an equal say in it, then the least we would see is a 50-50 percentage, or maybe we would see even a 90-10 percentage towards vasectomy because it's a better procedure. So no one had actually delved into this as to why this ratio is so skewed, and I wanted to do this. Again, it was my HOU in BJ who I told this idea to, and she said, no, you must pursue it, and she really, really pushed me for it. And if it wasn't for her, I would not have been able to complete my this research study because doing your internship as well as research is not something very easy. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done it. And because of that study being turning out so great and it being published, so all of these factors kept. Uh, I consider them as divine clues as to you should take OBGY, you should take OBGY, you should take OBGY. So these are all parts of it.
Mhm.
So, in the audience, there are many people who want to take up research, but they kind of don't have an idea okay, how difficult it is or whom to approach most of the time. So, what would you
Hmm.
suggest for them?
So in the recent years, I've seen this over a lot of conferences, medical conferences that I've attended, that research is talked about, especially student research. That students should conduct research, and sometimes the encouragement to do research is so much that people end up doing research for the sake of doing research, and so they just approach a guide who will give them a very high level topic that they will not be interested in, or they might be interested, but you can't really be passionate about something that is so very complex. And so I mean, they'll go ahead with that research, but that entire experience of that research, of collecting the samples and doing the statistics for it, that entire experience is so bad that they feel like, oh, this is what research is. But that is not what research is. If you are interested in research, then I will suggest that, very passionately just uh, read or uh, about whatever you like. And if a research question does come to you, approach someone who is very approachable. Tell them that this is a research question and this is what you want to do about it. And I'm sure they'll be helpful. You can approach like any of us also. And I will suggest that as much as possible, try to figure out how to do the sampling yourself. Try to do the statistics yourself. Try to write the entire paper yourself. Try to do the diagrams or the pictorial representations yourself. Because the more you are invested in this entire process of research, the more you'll enjoy it and the better idea you'll have of what actually research is. And then you will not only like feel like doing research whenever such a research question comes to you in your mind, but you will also have it will also help you a lot when the time comes to do your thesis, which everyone will have to do as a postgraduate student. So I think that is a very that doing undergraduate research will definitely help you forward in life.
Yeah, so gathering from our introduction and the millions of posts Google has, it seems like everyone should become a gynecologist and distribute the joy all over, but also that gynecology. It is also that gynecology is probably the most challenging, risky branch, emotionally no less than a roller coaster. So it would be great if you, from your experience, would tell us what qualities.
Excuse me, everyone is requested to please keep their audios on mute.
Yeah, so it would be great if you tell us what qualities a student should search for in himself if he wants to become a gynecologist, and who should definitely not become one. The qualities that would be.
I think it's too early for me to answer such a question because it's been only 3 months that I'm a resident in gynecology. I'm not a gynecologist yet, but I'll tell you what I feel is the answer to this. I feel like to be not just to be a gynecologist, but to be a doctor in general, you need to be empathetic and you need to be non-judgmental. So these are the two things that I consider are very, very important, especially in gynecology. Number one, because you cannot just dismiss someone's pain or dismiss someone's experience of anything that they feel. That's where the empathy part comes in. And you need to be non-judgmental because wherever gynecology is concerned, gynecology and sexual health, they are somewhat overlapping. So whenever someone is talking about their gynecological experience, they are also talking about their sexual experience, and you need to make them feel safe in discussing it, because unless they can discuss it completely and truly with you, you cannot treat them well. And as a doctor, all you want to do is understand and take the problem away in a very holistic fashion, in a very complete fashion. So, and this stands true for everyone. So as long as, so it does not matter what your personal opinions may be politically or morally or ethically, but you should be able to uh, listen to the patient's views without judging them, and then treat them as if they're just as if they're a patient, they're not your friend, or they're not like you don't need to pass a judgment on them. So as far as being a gynecologist is concerned, I think these are two very, very important things. Another very important thing is gynecology is a very high risk and high stress branch. So if you think you're cut out for it, you should definitely take it. But if you think that you might turn yourself into the person who can uh, deal with this kind of stress, then you can take it up. But otherwise, if you don't want a high stress branch, then I think neither gynec surgery or medicine is up for and there's no problem in that at all. You can take up one of the less stressful branches, which will be equally rewarding, and you will be doing yourself a favor more than anything. Because at the end of the day, you have to live your own life, and if you are not happy, there is no point in having the tag of a great branch on your head. Okay, because that is not going to let you sleep happily at night. So don't choose gynecology if high stress is not for you, or if a lot of physical activity, physical work is not for you. That is what I would say as far as gynecology is concerned.
This advice will definitely be very helpful, sir. Thank you so much, sir. After this, now let's move to the audience question and answer part. I hope everyone has sent their questions in the chat box. So just give us a moment until we select some relevant questions to ask. So we have two questions here. One being, in our society, it is very often seen that OBGY is chosen by females only. So what would you like to say regarding this since you chose the field?
Oh, okay. So the answer that I give to this is that you don't need to be a female to be passionate about women's health. Number one, and it's like the more you have the distinction in your head about how much males and females are different, and like they are so different that they can't understand each other. Only then you will have the dilemma of how can a male take up gynecology, but that's not true. If you understand each other well, and if you think you can help each other well, and understand someone else's problem, then why not? And at the end of the day, gynecology or obstetrics, it's a science. Okay, so you don't need to be a female to understand that science. And especially in Maharashtra and many parts of southern India, male gynecologists are very well accepted. And I feel like I'll be able to do a great job as a gynecologist. And if you are okay with it, and like you would like to be at the receiving end of this service, then why not? I'll be happy to serve you. But at the same time, if you feel uncomfortable simply because I'm a male, that is also okay with me. I mean, you don't have to be. If you want to go to a female gynecologist, that's fine. But I don't think this is. Never have I felt weird about being a male gynecologist, and I will tell you in my experience, in 3 months now, it's been must have been like 3 patients who have a problem with a male gynecologist. Okay, so this you will see in your posting also that women, at least in Maharashtra, they will see doctors as doctors. We don't see as a male doctor as a female doctor. So I mean, and even we don't see anything that way. So there is no problem at all. In fact, this is not a question only. This was never a question in my head that I'm a male, should I take gynecology? This was never a thing. And you'll see this in your postings also. You will never feel that I'm a guy, so uh, should I take up gynecology? If you like gynecology, you can take up gynecology.
Okay, so there's one more question. Now that the next has come and it is more clinically oriented, how can a student align their thought process early on in MBBS for it?
I think not only has the NEET been replaced by the next, but the MBBS syllabus has also been altered. So I'm pretty sure that those processes are going hand in hand. A lot of people are concerned about clinical questions being asked. But I'll tell you what, so the NEET that we gave this year, it was also very clinically oriented, and all the NEETs before that were not clinically oriented. So even our study was not clinically oriented. But that does not mean we could not tackle clinically oriented questions. There is no such thing as clinically oriented study. If you know all the facts well, and if it's presented to you in a clinical scenario, you can apply the facts that you know and answer a clinical question. So there is no. I don't think anyone should be scared about clinical questions being asked, and just study the study material that is available to you. Don't stress about, oh, what should I do? Where should I find clinical study material? Study what is available to you. You are all smart enough to derive from that study material whatever you need to know to answer a clinical question. So do not worry about that at all. This is what I tell everyone.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, there's one more. Regarding research, it is necessary to take. Is it necessary to take up a research topic from subject you're interested to pursue in the post graduation?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So again, so if you like to do research, you can do research. That's how it is. So when I chose this, when I did my research, I was not going to do OBGYN. I was going to do dermatology. I did that research simply because I was interested in knowing the answer to that question. So I thought, okay, this is something I am interested in, and I would love to see the process of research. So that's again. So do research for the love of your research question. So then you will not have such a question as should I do research only in something that I'm interested in post graduation. Sometimes I have research questions in my head that are physics related, but of course, I don't know enough physics to do a research study on it, but I feel like, oh, this is a good research question. I can tell it to someone who studied physics. So it is not at all. Don't think about it this way, because believe me, any kind of research you do will help you, even if it's not of your postgraduate branch. It will still help you. It will help you even during while getting a job. It will help you in every way, because when you go through something as tedious as research or something, or any of these tasks that you take up, it it helps you learn new skills, which will be picked up by someone who's looking for someone who's looking for a doctor with not just a very academic orientation, who's also good at worldly skills or at soft skills. So all these things improve with any of these extracurricular activities that you take. So don't think about it. Oh, I want to do PG in this. Should I do research in that? That's absolutely okay.
So Shreya, I think that's it.
We have another
So
question in the chat box.
Um,
Yeah, we have like 4 minutes remaining.
yeah, we are like 4 minutes.
one more question, maybe the last
Mentally
one.
strong.
How important is it to be physically and mentally strong in OBGYN?
BGY. Okay, yeah. So physical, not as much, because all residents, it's going to be a shock when you start your residency. But physically, everyone just grows up to it. You just suddenly learn how to live with less sleep and so much physical exhaustion and less food and all timings. The mental part, yes, for sure, because it's not that when you work badly, your seniors will shout at you. Seniors shouting at you is the way you learn to work in a department, in any residency, in any field. So in any of these clinical fields, at least. So mentally, it might come as a shock to you. Like, I was not prepared for it. I don't think there is a way to prepare for it, but you learn along the way, and you learn that these seniors, they don't mean anything personally against you, but they have a lot of pressure on them to get that work done. And if you are new to that work and you don't know how to do it, one of the ways to get it done from you is to shout at you or to put some more stress on you. So mentally, it is stressful. And if you want to know how stressful it is, I think the more invested you are in your internship, the more you act like a part of the own department when you do your internship in OBGYN. I think you'll come to know exactly how high stress it can be, and then you can take a good decision. That is why I stress a lot on having a good internship experience, because that is the only time you get to be a part of a department and yet not be a part of a department. So make the most of your internship.
Thank you, sir.
So that's it, I guess. And the other questions that have come up, we cannot answer them right now because they are irrelevant to this session. We'll definitely address them in the upcoming sessions. So this is the end of today's session. I hope each of you definitely have some idea in your mind now with respect to choosing gynecology as a PG course. And thank you so much, sir, for being here and for enlightening us with some important, really, really important information. And thank you for giving your really precious time to us. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I
And
think I love the session, and I love to be a part of it. And again, I'll say that I think you all are doing a great job. Please continue doing this. And
Thank you, sir.
I look forward to being part of such one of your ideas again. Thank you again. Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
audience, don't forget to give your feedbacks on our page, Instagram and Facebook. And we'll be back with another exciting sessions. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.